on the question of Congress reinventing itself. Even if I were to believe that for a moment, can you put your hand on your heart and tell me that Congress, anyone in the Congress can continue reinventing itself without saying Jai Ho to one Gandhi or the other? It could be a Sonia, it could be a Rahul, it could be a Rehan tomorrow. Question number one. Two, would you have been a minister in the cabinet without your surname? How many people are ministers in today's cabinet without a famous surname? What is the Congress party doing, if at all anything, to bring in young, honest, well-meaning people who don't have a famous surname and who don't have to say Jai Ho to Gandhi into politics? And when was the last time you had inner-party elections, which is the least you can do to bring in genuine, well-meaning people into politics? Thank you.
Yeah, mic's good. Go on. Your mic's good.
Is mic working?
Yes, it is.
That's fine. It's fine. I got the mic. Coming to your question of the names that matter. You're right. The names, I've been answering this question over and over again, and that's the common question we keep facing. Your surname matters and the Gandhi name matters. You're right, it does matter initially where you do get a head start in terms of getting a nomination or a party nomination. But ultimately in India, you have a very vibrant democratic setup where you are tested every 5 years, and even before 5 years, you might, if there's a by-election, you're tested again. So you have to be on the job, you have to perform, and the day you're not performing, you're out. And that's not an urban phenomenon. Even the rural voters who might not be very educated, but they're very sharp. To come to your second question, that was, I forget, but yeah, exactly, that one. And as far as your democratic, internal democratic thing that you talked about, in fact, my father himself was one of the people who fought the Congress president's election, and there was it was in recent times that there was internal democracy. And even now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has come out with an agenda for the youth, where primarily he's looking at going out to people, opening up the Congress membership. Probably you won't know where you get a Congress membership form from. You won't get a form to enroll yourself as a Congress member if you want to do today. But he's moving out and making sure it's available on the web, on the phone, in the universities, on the newspaper stands. That's the way of enrolling people. And then he's going ahead with the initiative of having internal elections to those posts where not only the first wins, but even the second, third, fourth, they get accommodated because they ultimately get the votes and they have some standing in the party. And that's the way forward. And that's the way the Congress is trying to reinvent itself, where people's upward movement is not based on how good you look or how close to your particular leader, but how well you perform. And that's the way forward, where we're looking at getting everybody on board, getting more professionals, getting rural people, anybody. So you don't need to have the money, you don't need to have the surname, but you need to have the go in you and have the right necessary amount of, what should I say, backing in terms of people with you, support with you, so that you can achieve. And that's the way Congress is trying to look ahead in years to come.
All right. One question from the back there. Yeah. Go on. The lady who had a hand raised over there. Yeah, go on.
Distinguished panelists, good afternoon. I'm Priyanka Choksi. I recently received my degree in political science in New York, and I returned to India with the hope that I could be part of this change we've been discussing at this conclave. But today, my generation's been called self-obsessed, disillusioned, and on page 10 of Mail Today, we've been called wannabes whose ambition is to become part of the same corrupt political system that they know to be the bane of our society. They only want to be able to control its levers. Well, how are we supposed to rise and engage if our efforts have already been undermined before we've even begun?
I can't really respond for Mail Today, but I read that piece as well. That's not what it says. It says that just the people who joined the political system, it refers to those people. There's a particular context in which the editor has written that.
No, I understand. The context is people who support Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Advani, for example.
So it talks about the campaign managers of Rahul Gandhi and of L.K. Advani, who've come from abroad, who are not really looking to make change happen, but are part of the campaign. Anyway, that's the call the newspaper has.
Well, the self-obsessed, disillusioned, I mean, there's very few people, as Ms. Chopra pointed out, who believe in us. How are we supposed to go ahead and make this change if people...
Well, Rahul, I have to say, when I heard that this generation was self-obsessed, I turned to Farhan and said, I'm angry. I really am angry if you're going to turn around. Yes, I think that it is okay to be career-driven. And I agree with you, Priyanka. First of all, you have a great name. I agree. I agree with you when you say that, if you're already being cynical towards us and you being a part of this generation, if you're being cynical towards what we can do, how will we ever find that drive? We only need people to turn around and say, we welcome you into this great change that we want. We need the youth to change that. And today, Priyanka, I would like to reiterate the fact that today's conclave, this discussion that we are having today helps that. Because we are discussing the fact that youth can actually drive change. And most people are agreeing on that front. So I think that it's a little bit of a debate. It will require some time. And I disagree with the self-obsessed part, but I think it'll happen.
All right. Go on. I think Kamal will also ask a question.
Hi, my name is Malvinder Singh, and I just had this question, which is to all of you. I agree with you that the youth has an important role, and we certainly will drive change. But it's a difficult journey, and we will have our ups and downs. And therefore, what is it that drives you and motivates you to make that change? And more importantly, if you give ourselves as a generation 3 to 5 years, what is that change that you will personally drive?
You go ahead and answer for all of us. Well, Malvinder, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not looking at making dramatic changes and very visible in immediate terms. What I'm looking at the moment, before I became a minister, I was a member of parliament representing my constituency. And what gave me the satisfaction and the go was those people in my constituency swear by me. And they voted me and gave me the mandate. So when you could make a difference to their lives in terms of actually seeing those results, you're helping him getting a job, you're helping a sick person getting to hospital, small things. I think those matter, and those give you the drive, that gives you the drive, and you see actually you can actually make a difference to people's lives, and they have so much faith and trust in you, and that keeps you going, and that's the way forward, and change will automatically happen. When a Jitin Prasad or a person, Abhinav Bindra or anybody gets elected who's got the background, who's got education, who's got a vision, automatically the criminals, the money, the other kind of bad elements attached to politics take a back seat, and the development and the issues become the agenda, and that's the way forward.
Dr. Bali.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you very much. Well, since morning we have been having our Arun Chacha. Now we have seen Arun Chacha's Bhatijas and Bhatiji, so it completes. Complimenting him that he has a real thought of putting you on the dais. And this is itself a change that so many elder to you are listening to you is the first change, number one. When it was asked to give a standing ovation, I could notice, I looked back at how many people do stand with swiftness. There was a laziness which I could observe. Forgive me for making that negative observation. My question is based on that, but before that, young people can make a change provided they inherit values, honesty, integrity, merit, and if they can have a firm will to deliver. Like you all have some qualities, that's why you are on that side. I made a physician to president at the age of 35, which was not in the constitution at that time. I felt that. Priyanka, you said future does not lie in youth. Let me compliment you by completing it, but you means the young generation. You are the future of the nation. Don't forget that. My question is, where is the obstacle in putting you young in the mainstream, and what have you felt? If we find that obstacle which prevented 5 young members of parliament to become ministers so far, there was no room for you, like one of you is sitting here. Where is the obstacle actually? Where is the obstacle for this change which we expect from the youth?
All right, we can get Prashant and Priyanka to answer that.
I think,
It's fine.
is it on?
Your mic is hot.
You know, just to answer that question and also the one which Priyanka raised, the youth generally when they enter, and that I'm talking out of my personal experience, and I started pretty early at the age of 15 or 16. The initial reaction is, you know, he's young, he's got some fresh ideas, give him a few years and he'll come around. and he'll start thinking in the line the way sort of everybody else thinks. But I think if we persevere, if we put in the hard work, if we have the commitment, and if once the elder generation gets the impression that yes, he or her is ready and has the stability to take on more responsibility, I think the doors open very fast. And from my experience, the first 5-7 years, I had the same questions. You keep talking, you keep having these great ideas, and frankly, no one is listening. But then once you get past a particular stage, once I got to my early 20s, I didn't face that problem at all. And from then on, it's up to you and your abilities. Whether you're young or whether you're old, I don't think that really makes that much difference going forward.
So right, one final question, and then we wind this up completely.
Sorry, I'd just like to add one thing. So I actually said that the future does lie in the hands of the youth. I didn't say I don't think it lies in the hands of the youth. And I also said that the future does lie in the hand of the youth, in the hand of the youth, but with the experience of people who have already been here to help us steer the enthusiasm that we do have.
This will be the last question.
Thank you. I'm Renuka Singh. I teach sociology at JNU. And in fact, I do teach a course on youth identity and social change over there. So for me, it's been very interesting listening to all of you. I would just briefly mention that I think in India, we do need to de-glamorize the sexual political image of youth. And so the question for you people is, do you see any limitation of the ideology of youth culture in India today?
Abhinav?
Well, I don't think so. I think the youth, the most important thing for me is that the youth has an audacity of imagination to aspire to reach unachievable heights, and they have the innovation to come through and the innovation to find new ways. And the most important thing is they also have the courage, to make mistakes and to bounce back. So I think for me, the youth is our strongest point, and our youth just needs nurturing, and that's to me the most important thing.